Hey guys. So recently I thought about a level that, even until now, is, in my opinion, one of the most interesting challenges in the entirety of Geometry Dash. The game has a history of levels that really push the ceiling of what is physically possible by players in the community, and even some levels that, while not rate-worthy, absolutely push the player's skills to their limits, like VSC being possibly top 1 when it first got verified due to how much difficulty was simply shoved into 15 seconds of gameplay. However, today we will be talking about a certain level that has a different challenge to it, or rather not even a challenge, a normal level, that I feel could have the potential to get rated if we're talking about when it was released. A level that goes from 1.2 seconds of some of the hardest gameplay shown at the time into an unbalanced 5-star is something we haven't seen before at all. And despite this, I feel that it has a chance to be rated after all this time. Of course, I am talking about Denouement. For those of you who have never heard of this level, Denouement is a level created by SyneActiveGD, and in my opinion is a level that should be rated, but not for the reasons that you think. Let's get started with the atmosphere of the level. As much as it looked like a generic low level, it gives you a relaxing atmosphere with some decoration making the level look slightly tighter in some parts than what it actually is. This works more in favor with the level for a certain part that I will get to later, but overall, it looks good enough to be rate-worthy. Now a feature, I feel is stretching it a bit, but a rate is fine for what the level decoration is at face value. Now let's talk about the gameplay. None of the gameplay in this level is particularly buggy and actually flow quite well with the song. This doesn't mean it's perfect, however, as the final wave part is definitely more difficult than the parts we went over earlier, with the final wave being a pretty difficult spam that is made more difficult because of a certain part. Actually, speaking of which, I guess we should address the elephant in the room. What is this? Now visually, this looks pretty good. As a decorator, this part spent a good 6 hours just decorating this part alone, staying up to finish this part. However, my issue isn't the decoration, it's the gameplay. This is the equivalent for its time as beating a list challenge and then trying to beat dry out after, which is not even an exaggeration. All of these clicks and releases you see here are all 60 FPS frame perfects, meaning you have 1/60th of a second to make an input and survive. Now for some of you Geometry Dash players that would say, hey Soft, wouldn't it be easier to play at a higher FPS? To which in this case, the answer is no. Given that all of these timings are 60 FPS, they are timings that are specifically aligned to 60 FPS. To which raising the FPS value for this would actually give less consistency and make the timing significantly harder, since if you were to offset this to where it wouldn't align with 60 FPS, some of these would actually be frame perfect on even 120 and in some cases possibly even 240 Hz depending on frame alignment. So right off the bat, this level forces you to play the entirety of it on 60 Hz. But let's say, if you pass the entirety of the wave, you still have the blind double spike jump at half speed, and then the slightly tricky wave spam at the end, and which will feel weird because you're playing using this lower FPS. Now with a challenge like this, surely some people wouldn't have the mental sanity to keep bashing their head against the wall, hoping for a completion, and spend days, if not weeks, on beating the level, right? Right? Oh! Yeah, I managed to beat this level after 2 terrible deaths at 5%, which is the double spike, and 98%, to which I died on the last spike of the pillar. So with what I described, you would think this level shouldn't be rated off the balancing alone, and you would be correct. However, it kind of works in its favor. The definition of denouement is the final part of a play, movie, or narrative in which the strands of the plot are drawn together and matters are explained or resolved. However, we will be looking at its second definition, the climax of a chain of events, usually when something is decided or made clear. Getting past this challenge for the first time makes you feel like you were destined to beat it, and Getting past this challenge for the first time makes you feel like you were destined to beat it, and the final mini-wave spam to the opening quarter makes it feel like the chaos you have just endured to finally defeat the first part has come to an end. It feels like a true end to the journey and torture you just put yourself through, to make yourself finally feel free from the level's chains. And the decoration I was talking about earlier, where corridors feel tighter than in the really easy parts, actually do play a part in truly making this level feel like a stress test. You know the level isn't over, however the atmosphere around you feels way closer than what it actually is, only building more to the stress factor. In my opinion, Denouement does a really good job in portraying its gimmick and rolling with it. The decoration on each part looks pretty solid and none of the gameplay itself has any real inconsistencies. This is even including the first 9 frame perfects. The feel you get beating this level genuinely feels like you can accomplish anything in the game, and as such, I genuinely do think this level deserves a rate. as not only for the pretty solid decoration for the time, but also for the achievement aspect of it. And another reason why it isn't rated is because, well, how does Robtop even rate it? This is why I feel the community decided difficulties for each level is a good thing, since regardless, I'm pretty sure everyone can agree that this is at least a demon level, and then let the community decide in-game as to what difficulty it is of demon. Anyways, this wraps up the video at hand. I would like to thank Epic Player 999xblubby for chilling in BC while I was trying to beat the level, and thank you Oculara for making the Emperor's PNG for the video. I will have a separate video showing my true completion of the level that will be uploaded later, but for now, I hope you all enjoyed the video, and I will see you all next time. Take care.
Let's go! Yo! Let's go!